guys, my name is KenYada and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure you take the time to hit that subscribe button, turn the notifications on so you don't miss when I upload a new video. For those of you that don't know, I am pregnant. We got baby boy in here growing and developing. And as you can tell by the title, like that's what this video is going to be about. I did post a video on my channel a few months ago where I kind of touched on the start of this whole process, but like it was still in motion, so I wasn't able to, you know, give all the details. But now that we're at a point where it basically has concluded, like I'm ready to talk about it. I've been going like back and forth with myself. If you have anxiety and introverted like me and overthink everything, like I'm sitting here going back and forth because I'm a very private person. You know, I choose what I let the world know, what I want them, you know, to know about my life. So this is a little more personal. So I was just going back and forth about wanting to talk about it. But honestly, I felt like some things just needed to be said. And it's just like, there needs to be a place to talk about what goes on with pregnancy. So that's what we're going to do here. So just to recap, like I said, in that other video, I touched on my maternity leave. So I work retail and I found out I was pregnant, right? September, August, one of those. And I was pretty much going to continue to work. Like my goal was, if I can do it, we about to make something shake. We about to make it work. So it gets to be about like late October, early November, and I was struggling. Like fourth quarter for a retail store is really fast paced. Even with the pandemic, like you would kind of think like, was people really even shopping like that? You know, between the economy, people being laid off, like a lot going on, but we were still steady. Like as long as we were open, people were shopping pretty much. So it was still very fast paced. On top of the fact that we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're required to wear gloves and we're required to wear a mask, like even without pregnancy, like sometimes a lot of movement with that mask on, you're out of breath, you're winded, like you're getting warm, like it's a lot going on. So on top of that and like the symptoms of pregnancy, I was like struggling because the type of person I am, for any job that I've ever worked, I am very consistent. I'm dependable. I'm going to show up. I'm going to give you 100% no matter what. Like I'm here to do a job and that's what I'm going to do. But with pregnancy, I couldn't give you 100%. So I'm doing you a disservice by even being here because I'm running back and forth to the bathroom because I'm nauseated. I cannot breathe in this mask, dizzy spells, like a lot was going on. Like at first, like with the pregnancy, like this is my second time around. Like I already have a son. And that pregnancy, I could barely get off the couch. So with this time, your girl was still moving. Like I was active. Like I felt privileged compared to my first pregnancy that I was able to be in this mindset, be able to still work, like still be able to show up. But like the point came where it was like, we not going to be able to do this. So like I said, it's a disservice to you if I cannot perform my job to the best of my ability. So I was ready to put in a leave then, like at the end of October, early November. But I was going back and forth because like I said, retail fourth quarter it's like the biggest part of the year for a retail store. I don't want to leave my team hanging as far as being down a manager. Like it's already stressful enough. Like we work off each other's schedules. It's like when you decide to take a vacation or whatever, it affects everybody else. Like you can't have too many people off at the same time. So it's a lot. So I was just like putting myself like in the back seat and just was pretty much like, let's at least try to make it through December just so they're not shorthanded. So that's just the type of person I am. Like sometimes I just worry about what everybody else got going on, how my stuff is going to affect other people. So that's all I was thinking about. I was thinking about that more than going to work dying every day, you know, obviously over exaggeration, but I was definitely struggling being on my feet all day. Like, let's just think about it. If you read a retail associate, manager, whoever, if you read that job description, they pride themselves on like being fast paced and you got to be able to lift over a certain amount of pounds, like over your head, like, you know, just period. Like it is a very physical job. Like retail is hard on anybody, regardless if you're pregnant or not. So on top of everything that's going on, I'm pregnant in the middle of a pandemic. So it's like, I'm sitting here like, as a manager, like, I'm not just sitting in one spot. You wear multiple hats, and you're supposed to be putting out fires like all around the store. So you're constantly just, being called left and right, like doing a whole lot. So you're just like, there's not a lot of sit down time. This isn't a job where I'm just sitting at the computer, like at the desk, like where you're not doing that. And if you do, like they might not say it to your face, but they feel some type of way. Like if every time they come in the office, it's like, what are you even doing? So I made it into literally December 31st. And what even pushed me even further, because my goal, if I haven't said that already, my goal was pretty much to go until March before I was going to see if I could take a leave, maternity leave, or anything like that. Because like I said, I felt privileged that I was still able to kind of keep up with everybody with this belly and this fatigue. But like we were dealing, like I said, it's a pandemic. We were dealing with a lot of COVID cases. Like it felt like we were getting text messages and emails every couple of days about a positive COVID test at our location. And the first couple of times it didn't affect me, but the final straw was pretty much when somebody reported that they had COVID, and I was with them all day long, to the point they even said in the phone call, like, yeah, I just got my test back, and the only two people that I'm concerned about, the other person doesn't need to be mentioned for the sake of the video, but KURLS, like I was around her the entire day. So that just put it in perspective. Like, it's not even about like you and me anymore. Like I got to think about my son. Like I'm working with people and we're getting exposed to COVID. We're not shutting down. We're not cleaning up. It's just like, okay, well, y'all take a quarantine and come back when you're ready type thing. And that's just, like when I took my leave, this is not like the maternity leave or anything, just the leave because of the contact with COVID. My mind was racing. Like, so I was just talking to Jermaine, like I said, having little conversations with myself. And I was like, yeah, we not doing this. Like, we're not about to put ourselves at risk for this job. Like, people are dying from COVID. And there's a lot of like uncertainties when it comes to pregnant women in the virus. So I was just like, yeah, we're not about to do that. So I went ahead and contacted and was like, I'm just going to go ahead and take my leave because I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe, on top of the fact that I'm just overdoing it because I'm trying to make sure that I don't leave you guys hanging, but it's time for me to put myself first, like, period. So that started the leave. So like my last day at work literally was December 31st. So obviously you got to contact like HR, and you got to contact like whoever they're partnered with that actually puts the leave of absence in and like works with you. So the whole time, and I feel like still people had like little stuff to say, like your girl's not pregnant. Like it just, people would even say like, yeah, if you were my daughter, or if, I knew somebody in your situation, I would definitely be talking to my job in HR about maternity leave, like, period. But it seems like that's to somebody, like you put it in your perspective, the perspective that it was one of your loved ones, one of your family members, your daughter. But then it's like when it's an associate or an employee, it's not that same kind of connection. Like all you see is a person who's here to do a job. And if we're going to keep it strictly business, then let's keep it strictly professional. Don't pretend to be my friend or anything like that. If when it comes to stuff like this, like needing time off, mental health, pregnancy and stuff, if you don't like have my back, or you're not like looking at it as I'm a human, then don't pretend to be my friend. Let's, you my boss and I'm your subordinate, period. Like, so I'm like, the process with the leave of absence people was so confusing and just like a lot. So when I first reached out to them, basically they just put me on just a leave. It was like a personal leave based on the hours that I dedicated and accumulated to my job. So like, I don't know what the equation was, but based on like how long I had been working there, it equated to about a month. So then it was like, the question is like, I told them from jump, like once I take a leave, I'm not coming back. Like, I'm not taking a leave just to like cool down for a second, you know. No, like once I take a leave, it's going to be for the duration of my pregnancy until I go into labor. There's no point in like half stepping with this. If I'm already tired now, it's only going to get worse. So if I take a break and try to come back, that's just, what's the point of that? So I communicated that like with the people with the leave. I communicated that with my boss. Like, I'm not, once we take the leave, that's it. So here we are, like doing this personal leave for like a month or whatever. And, you know, they're contacting me and stuff like that. So they were talking about like what comes next, basically. So because the personal leave was like only a month, like we needed to roll into like whatever this leave was going to be. And it was basically a short-term disability. And like with that, it's a paid leave. So of course it's going to be a whole lot more. Like the personal leave was pretty much just like, what's going on? How long do you need? Okay, this is the time we can offer, period. You know, we're going to send it over to your location and you're on a leave. But obviously, if you're going to be at home and a company's going to be paying you, it's going to be a whole lot more. So the short-term disability, obviously the doctor had to get involved because they needed to confirm the pregnancy. So it was a lot of faxing back and forth with like information that they needed to kind of conclude that basically if I deserved short-term disability, like if based on what was going on medical wise, like do we need to pay her to be off for such weeks? So this was like literally taking forever. I just kept getting calls about needing more information. I had to keep talking to my doctor. You know, I'm already going to the doctor. Like at this point, it was just once a month. But this process took so long, it even went into where I was seeing the doctor every 2 weeks, and we're steadily talking about paperwork. She's just like, you know, a lot of companies are different. They require a lot of stuff, but like we're kind of used to this because they just pour over the information before they can make a decision. So we're just like, meanwhile, just waiting around to see what's going on. So when I first talked to the people about the short-term disability, I talked about this in the other video. It blew me when she basically was saying that, I guess in a way she was kind of warning me what was going to happen, because she basically said for a short-term disability, like you're better off claiming a mental disability, like mentally stuff is going on, and having your doctor speak to that. That's more likely to get approved for short-term disability than a pregnancy is. Like, you know, anxiety, depression. Obviously, like it could be from personal stuff, but really if you're talking about like your job is giving you anxiety, depression, and you just kind of need a moment to step away, like you're more likely to be approved. Like she basically warned me, but I'm just not that. I definitely deal with anxiety, and it's just not something from this job that I would report a short-term disability from, because it doesn't take me there to where I'm like in panic attacks or just not being able to function while I'm at work. You know what I mean? So we basically filed our claim with pregnancy and like COVID, and the doctor spoke to like in all the papers about, she confirmed the pregnancy, obviously, and then she had to send over like all my records and stuff. She talked about safety concerns for COVID-19. She talked about the inability to be able to lift. She talked about, what else did she tell me? You know, the nausea, the dizziness, the restrictions from like having to wear the gloves and the mask, just all that stuff. But when it comes to pregnancy, because that stuff is just common, like everybody deals with that, you know, it wasn't enough. So I got a call. What brings us to this video and what brings us here today is because I literally got a call, I think Friday, but I was on my Sands trip. So I just didn't want to kind of deal with that on a Friday. And I'm glad, Lord knew, I'm glad I didn't answer the phone, because I would have been pissed the entire weekend. So I'm glad I didn't answer the phone. And I called them back once I got back, not Monday, because I was still trying to do homework, just get settled in. So I called them on Tuesday about, you know, returning the call, you know, what's up? So she's basically saying, so your short-term disability claim has been denied, and your job protection and the leave that your job protection and the leave that you are currently on expires on the 16th. It cannot be extended. So we're getting a lot in this phone call. The short-term disability was denied. my leave that I'm on now is about to expire and cannot be extended. So of course my mind is like, okay, sis, then what's next? What are my options? Like, this is me talking to her. I'm like, so what do I do now? And she was like, well, you would probably have to reach out to HR or your location. From my experience from the beginning, every time I do that, I'm just directed back to call Sedgwick and file for a claim or file for whatever. So if I'm already on the phone with you, there's no need to contact them. They already know the deal. I already told them I wasn't coming back. So I'm like, at this point, because guys, none of these leaves are the maternity leaves. Like, it just gets better. So I'm talking and I'm like, so at this point, I'm 8 months pregnant. Can I file for my maternity leave? Like, what is the holdup here? So she's like, oh, okay, ma'am. So have you delivered? I said, no, I'm not due until the end of May. Well, she was like, ma'am, you can't file for your maternity leave until after the baby's here. After all these conversations that I've had with these other representatives, no one has said that. I mean, not anyone I work with, no one from HR, the other like call representatives, no one said that maternity leave starts after you deliver. Like, let's just put this in perspective. Like, could you imagine being literally like 2-3 days away from your delivery and you're still like working, like especially retail, running around? Because what do you do when when your baby's not coming and you're like, we are ready, like we need you to be ready? What do? You take walks, you dance, you bounce on a ball, like you get your body moving, like so that the water breaks, so that your water breaks. Because that's literally what happened to me. Like, literally, it might have been the day before. It was either 2 days or the day before Jeremiah. Like, he was doing the 4th and he was born on the 1st. We kind of by the 30th was like, let's start getting prepped for like delivery. Like, I'm ready, and all I had to do was take a walk in the park. Like, we was on the sun. We kind of went somewhere pretty and we went walking. That next morning, my water broke. So it's like, literally, could you imagine just day after day, that close to your delivery date, just walking around, running around at a retail store? Like, I don't know about you, but my ideal, like, I don't know, not ideal, but when my water breaks, I want to be in a place to where I'm like, okay, let me grab my bag, babe, come on. Like, I'm at work, like, I would have to call him. Like, what? Like, why would you be working all the way up until that? I've never heard of that. That's the point I'm getting at. I didn't even really talk to her because I was irritated. So I was like, okay, well then I guess that's it. You know how you just speechless because at this point you done told me nothing but bad news, and you doing your job. Like, you doing your job. So I'm not about to like spaz out on you. So I was just like, okay, well, thank you. And I just hung up. So I reached out, like, basically like what she was telling me on the phone is I'm out of options. Like, if I'm not going back to work, like, I've exhausted that other leave, the other claim was denied, and I'm not able to take a maternity leave, I'm not reporting back to work at 8 months pregnant. Like, that defeats the purpose of me taking all those other months off. I might as well have been working if I was going to plan to come back to work at 8 months pregnant. See the dilemma here? Like, so basically, because of my pregnancy, like, my job was not cooperating with me to give me the leave that I needed so that I could return back to work. Like, basically, once my leave's up, if I'm not reporting back to work, then it's no call, no show. So my options were return back to work, quit, or be fired. Like, I have never, like, just to like give a story time, like, when I was pregnant with Jeremiah, I wasn't working already. So I didn't have to deal with this. I didn't know anything about all this. All of this was new for me, the whole process of taking a maternity leave and everything like that. So that is like what happened. So here we are, basically not able to work anymore, not like with my company because I'm pregnant, because I wanted to leave in the middle of a pandemic, like couldn't get approved for short-term disability, basically because my problems weren't big enough. They weren't severe enough. Like, my doctor didn't report anything like high blood pressure or bed rest or like risk of preeclampsia or just any of that stuff. So it was just kind of like, none of this is big enough. Like, shorty can go to work. She should be able to do her job. Like, you know what I mean? They're basically speaking for me and what I can and can't do, what I can perform at work. Or it's almost like it's just this illusion that, okay, she's pregnant, like she's over exaggerating, like she can go to work type thing. Like, you telling me what I can do is just not okay. So here we are. Now I'm not with my company anymore because you guys wouldn't accommodate what I needed for a pregnancy leave. It's crazy. Like I said, it's very baffling. From this whole process, no one ever told me that you needed, they're basically saying you need to work your entire pregnancy. And when you think about like the women I know, the stories I've heard, like a lot of women struggle through their pregnancy. A lot of people take leave of absence. It's like, it's not unheard of, but I guess like, you know, with retail, especially when you're in the store, not a corporate level, like they just don't care, and it shows. So like I said, I just wanted to like talk about it and give an update because I needed to talk about it. Like I never thought that was how it was going to end. You know, honestly, I'm okay. Like, honestly, I'm just like, we needed to close that chapter. We needed to close that door anyway. Like, anybody that I've talked to about my profession and what I'm doing currently, I always talk about how I've been doing retail for, I'm 30, almost like 20 plus, not 20, what girl? I've been doing retail for over 10 years. So, and I'm not satisfied with it. I want more. It's time to elevate. So it was time to close the chapter anyway. I just think it's kind of messed up that it was like forced because of me being pregnant. But like, I think, you know, I'm always talking about it. Like, God closed that door so that we can move into something even better. That's how I look at it, because like, it's just, retail is a lot anyway, and I've been trying to move away from it. That's why I'm in school now, you know, just trying to, you know, grow and move forward with my life. I really, like I said, I was irritated about like how I was being treated through this whole thing, but I'm not mad. Like, I'm not bitter. I'm just like, the girl warned me. Like I said, the girl warned me that like this was a possibility, because they don't approve short-term disability cases for pregnancy. Like, it's just, there's already a leave for that for your maternity leave. But like, I think from, like I said, from what I've researched, other mothers that I've talked to, I've never heard that the maternity leave starts after the baby's here. I know that's why it starts towards the end of it, because it's like, you're getting ready for a baby, and then it's supposed to help you heal and like give you time to bond with the baby. But there definitely needs to be something out there that is for pregnancy, not once you become a mother, but pregnancy, because that is a lot. Like, growing a human and still trying to exist and do day-to-day activities is a lot. So there should be something out there to help us and protect us when we are still trying to work, or we get to a point where we can't. Like, if you still want to keep your job, you shouldn't have to choose between your health and working. Like, that's basically what happened here, because you guys didn't want to accommodate like the leave that I needed. Like, it's just, guys, it's just, you know, I don't know. That's my little like update. That's my venting session, like getting it out there. I do like, I don't know, I seen one of my sorority sisters post on her story, and she was like talking about how some news anchor or something like that, like, he used to think that paternity leaves, like for the fathers, were a scam, and like they were unnecessary. He used to joke on the people who took them until he had a son or daughter, whoever had a child, and now you see like, oh, I'm wishing I had that 6 weeks or like whatever. So it's like, we just need more people in, not that he's in charge of the policy or anything, but that's the issue. Like, people literally don't think that maternity leaves and paternity leaves are as serious, and they don't require as much time. You're always denying us our maternity leaves and stuff like that. I think we need more people that actually care about pregnant mothers, or been there themselves enough to know. Because now look at you. Now you're saying we need it just because now it's affecting you. Like, it shouldn't always have to take this personal, heartfelt moment for you to protect regular people. Like, it's crazy, because there's probably a lot of people sitting around making these policies. Y'all probably had a pregnant wife or I mean, a friend or somebody, and you've heard a story where they've dealt with a lot in their pregnancy, and sometimes people just need that extra help, that extra protection. And it's kind of sad that depending on who you work for, you're not going to get it. It definitely taught me that, like I said, moving forward in like this next chapter, definitely the new company that I work for, we got to talk, sis. Like, we have to talk about mental health. We need to talk about leave of absence. Like, we talking about all of that in the interview, because I don't want to be blindsided like I did with this company. Like, I don't want to, especially if you, what if you really down for the company? What if this was like your dream job, your dream career, you get pregnant, and then you're like tossed out because you basically aren't able to handle your pregnancy, and because you need a leave of absence and they can't accommodate it. It's like, it's just it's crazy. Like, hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. I'm going straight off feelings and emotions right now, and I feel like I could have like wrote, you know me, I'm always writing stuff down, trying to remember everything. So I hope that I touched on everything that was bothering me and like the whole situation. But if you made it to the end of this video, you're a real one. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to continue to keep you guys updated with, you know, this whole process. Like I said, your girl's 8 months. She's 8 months pregnant and still struggling with, well, it's come to a conclusion now, but was still struggling with my leave and where we're at with it. So now, you know, just like me, like, okay, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, yeah, like I said, I just wanted a space to talk about it, because I feel like I'm almost positive I'm not alone, where people have had like some type of story in regards to maternity leave, or just that whole process and how they probably dealt with some crazy stuff as well. I just wanted to talk about it. I just, you know, because it happens. Some crazy stuff out there going on during pregnancy and like trying to hold down a job or whatever. So I hope you guys like this video. Like I said, if you made it to the end, I appreciate you. If you're not already, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.